Good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are. Welcome to another scene in Requiem for London. We place this scene at Gordon's Wine Bar near the embankment of the Thames. And this bar usually is very popular, packed with all sorts of people, but tonight it has been booked for a private party. A rather expensive gesture. But in this private party, which is currently underground in the bar, they're waiting for guests, and they're being rather loud and obnoxious. They're speaking on their phones, their tablets, complaining about the wireless signal. And you will also see, I haven't got the picture here. You'll see John Ernest sat in the corner of the room, quietly preparing himself for the meeting he's about to have with the Bishop of the Sanctified. A very rare event, as the Bishop tends not to meet many of the Carthian movement. And as he sits there, his helpers or carry-ons are sort of running around, screaming and shouting at each other, talking of politics and the hideous nature that lies therein. And they will wait for a period of time until their guests arrive.
The first sign that they are not alone is a scent that seems to waft into the room. It's very sudden and it's very blunt. The smell of almost gas, perhaps rotten eggs, some other more sinister thing. Mixed in with that foulness, there is almost a sweet scent of incense, perhaps tobacco smoke, or almost a crisp smell of grass right after the sun rises, after a very long and cold night. They do not see anyone come in. Well, most of them don't see anyone come in. And then they just appear. Figures, 3 of them, hooded, with long robes covering their faces. These individuals, they do not say anything, but they are unmistakable as John Ernest's guests, partially because of the copper masks that all of them wear, the most ornate being to the individual standing at the head of this procession. He looks around and sees John. He removes the mask, revealing the withered, almost leathery and wrinkled face beneath, like a piece of parchment that was crumpled up and then stuck over a person's screaming visage. He looks at the people. The conversations begin to stop. There is tension in the air, as well as the smell. And then he sees John in the corner. It has been a long time, John. This is quaint, charming.
John will stand up, and again he gestures or looks to his staff to kind of stand aside, and he'll slowly walk. You'll hear loud pacing footsteps. His hands are behind his back, and he approaches forward and gives a polite bow and says, pleasure. We do not. It's a shame we do not see more of each other, old boy.
It is. I do enjoy our conversations. But enough of that. Let us get to the point of this evening.
As you're both talking to each other, the one of the Carthian members standing next to John, again trying to talk on his phone, just sort of rudely interrupts. Oh, well then, now the fucking pleasantries are done, can we get this done? John, you got another meeting in like 20 minutes.
The bishop slowly turns his head towards this individual. And as he does so, this individual will hear a raspy exhale as though somebody who had been perhaps a chain smoker, except it's more singularly horrifying by the hunger in that breath and the unnecessity of it.
Yeah, this figure looks back at you, and he's not even. You can see he's a bit shocked by your presence and the way you're dressed, but he still doesn't bat an eyelid. He goes, "What's the matter, mate? You giving me a look? Do I look pretty or something?"
John, I would have expected your followers to show a bit of courtesy to guests. I hope this is not how you treat all of your friends.
John, again, trying to calm the situation, has just got a polite sort of smile and goes, "Oh, forgive my colleague here. He's rather enthusiastic, a common trait amongst us Carthians, as you must well know." Oh boy.
He just stares at the individual again and says, "Do you have a seat away from your rude companions?"
Oh, of course, I've booked the entire room for us for our private meeting. Come. And he gestures to follow him towards the back of the room, where it seems a single candle has been lit on a table in the distance.
And so the two go there while the other members of the bishop's entourage just sort of stand at the attention. Some of them look around, some of them look at the Carthians. One of them is looking very tentatively at the rude Carthian who would dare to hurry the bishop up.
He will just like stare back at this individual and just be like, "Oh, you all right there, mate?"
The individual will not say anything. He will just stare at him with eyes from behind this copper mask. Still won't say anything. But an individual like that would see sort of the frustration and anger behind those eyes, the indignation. But as that's going on, the bishop sits down adjacent to John Ernest.
Oh, dear. Yeah, John will offer the bishop a seat and politely sit down himself, or wait for both of them to sit, and then he'll lean back on the chair and cross his legs and place both his hands in his lap, and then gesture with his hands in a sort of, "So, well, how can I help you?" manner.
I am concerned with the state of our affair city. It seems like each night more and more needless bloodshed visits our streets. This is not God's work. This is brutality, senseless, meaningless, motivated by the greed of a few particular individuals. I wish to extend the olive branch, as it were. Our two factions within the city have never been amicable. I think that needs to change, especially since this social club you run has a more understanding leader.
Sorry, OCC, what does he mean by understanding leader social club?
Well, the social club thing was an insult to the Carthian movement, and
All right.
the understanding is a compliment to John Ernest himself.
All right, okay, cool. Right, got it. Yeah, John will look and be like, well, I must admit our movement does tend to go from one extreme to another. Not everyone agrees with our views, but it is important that we have those views, yes, no matter what they are. But in regards to this violence, the deaths on the streets, we believe in the law. We will enforce that law against any that will break it, of course.
But that's not the problem, isn't it? The problem is, well, you have nothing in place to discourage people from breaking these laws. I believe the old saying goes, who watches the watchmen?
Is it not God, dear old boy?
Oh, the bishop is not amused at that comment.
He's just pointing it out. He'll say, oh, I always thought it was God, dear old boy.
You will see the bishop's smirk and say, I did not know your underling's rudeness extended to yourself.
I'm just merely pointing out a theological point of view. Such is the way of the Carthians. I meant no offence by it, of course.
The bishop will eye you over. He'll put his hands intertwine them, and then lean his chin against them as he sits across from you. These eyes looking across, they betray a youth that his physical form does not adhere to, nor his voice. If you knew any better, you would say they were very much like your own.
Oh, okay.
He says, I came here because you have been a friend to my family. One thing that has always kept the princedom strong was that clan did not bring home their troubles, no matter what disposition you are. I have had dinner at the table of members of your movement, with the prince's council, even filthy heretics who sacrifice children in the deep, dark Bunslow of the city. But they are family, and we look after our own. And that is why I have come to you. Somebody of your clan is violating my clan's territory.
Yeah, John immediately looks a bit surprised at that, because that's, yeah, it's very, very messy move to mess with the Nosferatu. But he'll pause to allow you to continue. He'll put his hand on his chin this time, and he starts just sort of stroking it. He covers his mouth slightly as if to sort of cover his kind of shock.
He will note that and then say, "The people of the First Estate have been trying to keep it quiet, but bodies have begun to turn up in the Thames. Throwaway thugs. The people who do not want to have strings attached higher when they need to get things done. They were completely insanguinated, although the coroners have not been able to deduce why. They have no cut marks on them at all. You do understand what I am saying, Mr. Ernest."
I'm sure you have evidence to back your thoughts and accusations.
Do not think the church does not extend to the places that it no longer holds domain over. We are the ones who bury the dead. We have people in place who look over the coroner's notes, who whisper things into their ears, who change what is written ever so slightly. They all died by drowning, of course. But any death is enough to threaten the masquerade, if not handled with extreme care. And these deaths were not done with care.
And you believe my clan was involved in this? But for what reason? Ventru tend not to do anything unless there's something to be gained.
That's what I came here for, John. What is it that your clan wants with Nosferatu domain?
He pauses for a moment, and you see him very sort of contemplating the information that you've just given him. And he'll take a moment, but then he'll speak and he'll say, "As in regards to my clan, I'm afraid I'm not as close as some would think me be. Their motivations tend to be very well hidden, as I'm sure you can respect amongst Ventru. But to invade your clan space, your mighty clan's territory, is a very dangerous move, and they would only commit to such a thing if there was great value. You're sure you are not hiding something perhaps you should not have?"
His expression is impassive. I will need to roll for this, though.
Okay. Is it contested? Or?
Yes, you can roll I believe it would be wits plus empathy to try and see through it. And
Okay.
he's going to be rolling manipulation plus subterfuge. So this will be 6 dice for him.
Funny enough, it's 6 dice for me as well. So I don't think it has anything that would increase that or lower it. So yeah, we just roll. So I'll roll 6 dice for the bishop. Oh, he's got 110. So roll another dice. Oh, just the 1 success. While John gets 2 and 2 successes.
With a success, you beat the bishop. He tries not to show it, but there is something there. It makes sense, too. The bishop would not come down here and talk to you if
Uh,
he or his clan did not want to keep people out of their, which has traditionally been the sewers and the tube stations of London. So whatever is going on with the clan, whoever sent those people down there, they must have been on to something. They must have been on to Nosferatu business.
yeah, so Sir John he'll gauge from the bishop's reaction that, but he'll change the subject. He doesn't want to provoke anything there. Though as I've said, I'm not too close to my clanmen anymore. I do know one fact that seems to always remain true. Nothing occurs in the clan without Mychal May's permission.
Bishop will smirk and say, "That is true. The gold spinner has his hands tightly around your clan's throat.
He spent...
No one dares to draw a breath unless he says so. I could never understand it. How the lords could become subservient to a single individual. Because let's be honest here, since we are among friends, as he sort of looks over at the I would assume by now it's almost an ensuing brawl as the Parthians and the Sanctified are now hotly debating several things.
If you flash back, you'll hear every now and then the Scottish figure just going like, "Well, fuck you, mate. What the you bastard? Do you think you can say that to me and get away with it? Do you know who I am?"
There's one voice amongst the Sanctified who says, "You are nothing. You are nothing but a pale and insignificant man."
Come on, I've never beaten up a man in a dress, but there's a first time for everything.
Oh, you want to go down? You want to go down? As he sort of goes into fisticuff stance.
So the two figure will see that or hear that go on. So I was distracted there. Oh yeah, talking as friends.
Talking as friends. You know this to be true.
He will. Yeah, he will. I don't think you even need to roll for it. You obviously see John is kind of upset when referring to May. There's a lot of history there, a lot of sort of feeling and emotion. And he goes, you're not telling any lies there, old boy. May has spent many years working his webs, corrupting everything he touches, twisting it, even those that aren't aware they're under his control. Perhaps you and me both included.
The bishop sort of does a low chuckle, but he doesn't smile. He says he would almost be an ideal member of the church if he did not squander such talents. Imagine somebody with that type of power, what he could do to restore the sanctity of this city, to ensure that the kind do not squander their lives like he is squandering his eternity.
Imagine what damage he can do to the city. That is my greatest fear.
And what damage he could do indeed.
Know this, I see a common ground between us. You seem to be intrigued by my clan's activities, and May is a figure most certainly involved. I myself have issues with him that need to be resolved. Perhaps this figure can help our forces align for the greater benefit of the kindred of the city.
Are you suggesting an alliance between my congregation and your political organization, or a full-fledged coalition between the movement and the Chapel of the Spear?
As you well know, I am the chairman of the movement. We have many voices. We would have to debate the issue, but I'm sure I can get it through. I believe there are dark times coming, very dangerous times. The more we stick together, I'm sure we will come through them.
The bishop will examine you for a while and say, I would be grateful for the assistance. Our little congregation could use all the help it could get in these dark times, but I would need your word that what you speak is true, that you will support us, despite whatever opposition you may get from your fellow members in the movement. Because I am aware several members of your movement have begun sleeping with heretics. More than you probably realize, or maybe more than I realize.
Oh, give me. He's going to try and cover what you just said. So he's going to try not to react because, yeah, he probably does know that there are certain things going on in this movement.
Yeah, that's going to be for him. Wits plus empathy to try and catch him in the act.
Okay, cool.
And manipulation plus subterfuge for Ernest.
No.
For me, it's going to be.
So is it 6 dice? Was it or
6 dice for me?
Yeah. 1 success and manipulation. Oh yeah, I re-rolled. Okay. No, it's just a 10.
Yeah.
And then for John, it's manipulation, subterfuge. Yeah, that's going to be 6 as well, I think. No.
Oh
wow. Okay, so loads of 7s. So he, as you say there, he reacts. You spot him again. He places his hand over his mouth. So it seems to be a tell that he's trying not to react to something you've just said. And yeah, it seems that he is aware that there's some oddities, but he wasn't aware that you knew. So, and that seems to be a shock to him.
He will not respond. Although, well, no, I'm sorry. He will respond. That's exactly the Nosferatu. You'll smile and go, yes, you do know. You have allowed your organization to be in bed with the devil, as it were. It is your choice. Your will is your own, but we all share the same purpose, Ernest. And in the end, these new bedfellows you have acquired will turn against you and destroy you. We hunt them because that is their nature. It's their choice. Let us hope you do not choose to be their next victims.
I did not realize you had such warm protective feelings towards me in the movement.
Like I said, you have been a friend to my family. You have looked after those who have strayed from the path, but who are still of my blood, and my sire's blood, and his brother's blood.
Mm.
We care about family.
He
That
nods.
is why I have came here at all.
Well, I appreciate the comments. Not many seem to acknowledge or like the work I do with the strayed kindred of the city. I've gathered many under my care. But in regards to the heretics, as you wish to call them, we can perhaps, if they are intending to destroy us, as you say, perhaps we can arrange a way for you to help us defend ourselves, of course, or the movement, luring the snake into the trap, as it were, or viper.
As he will just take your words in and say, "It is a shame you did not have the blessing of a different sire. You would have made a great Nosferatu, John Ernest. I would be willing to assist you in ridding you of both your family's problems and your snake problems. But I need you to give me your word on 3 things. Your true word."
If that is the requirement, I'm sure I'm happy to swear on a Bible, perhaps.
Oh, nothing that holy. God does not look after the kindred. God tasks the kindred, John Ernest. That is why what we do is sanctified. And with that, he will get up and retrieve something from his pouch and just set it on the table, and it's this glass bottle. And inside the glass bottle, you will see what appears to be all that's left of a caterpillar chrysalis. You can roll intelligence plus occult to realize what he's hinting at right now.
So intelligence is 3, occult is 2, so 6 dice. 2 plus another one. So 2 successes.
You might have heard about this little ritual or miracle the Sanctified can do. What he's suggesting is that you give him your word under the effects of Theban sorcery. It's not like an Invictus Oath where there is a liege and a vassal where you basically enter into a step below. There's no magical binding at all. But it will do something to you if you're not exactly sure. You didn't get enough to exactly recognize what ritual it was.
Yeah, he'll as the bishop gets it started out, and he spots it, and he's no stranger to the blood sorcery. He has seen it before on a few rare occasions, and he'll one of your sanctified rituals. They always amaze me what you holy men can do.
We may not be blessed, but we are well armed. As with that, he will sort of close his eyes, and you can just barely hear this mumbling as he sort of puts his hand over the lid and begins saying something. You can try to hear what he's saying, but this is him basically spending willpower to activate the ritual.
Okay, John will watch and listen, but I don't think he'll be examining every single word. He is intrigued by how this all works, to be honest. Very rare occasions does he actually see it happen.
All right. Well, could you give me a dice of, let's see here. A dice pool of 8.
1 and a 2.
All right. 15 minutes pass and nothing happens, but you begin to feel something in the back of your head, as it were. Your beast rears up almost as if to sniff the air, sensing another presence. The commotion behind the bishop, between the sanctified and the firebrand, stops as people begin to look. They notice what the bishop is doing. The sanctified are holding their breaths. I'm not sure what the Carthians are doing, depending mostly on how John Ernest is reacting within this 15-minute time frame.
John will be just waiting, watching, and he's probably going to be watching the Sanctified versus Carthian fight in the background, and probably gives a bit of a smile, of like, yeah, you know, politics and politics type sort of thing.
Very slowly, as John is seeing the inside of the glass, the carapace, it almost looks like it's slowly burning, just ever so slightly, as though some invisible flame is scorching it. Like a burnt piece of paper, it begins to dissolve bit by bit. Could you give me another dice pool of 8?
Okay.
You can roll. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a few.
You can roll, I believe it's. Ernest's resolve plus blood potency to fight off the effects of it if you want. Because this is enough for him to succeed.
I'm going to say he's going to try and do it because he might try and play along. We'll see how he does. Yeah. So what do I need to roll? Sorry.
It's your resolve plus blood potency.
So his resolve is not that high, and blood potency, so it's going to be 6 dice. He's got a lot of composure, but not much resolve. Or a few. Just the 3 successes.
Okay, and that was on the first roll.
Oh, okay, first roll.
All right, let me see for this.
Sorry, roll again.
I think you might have had it because you got more than my first roll.
Oh, okay.
It depends. It doesn't explicitly say here, I believe.
Hold on, so right, so miracles.
Because I think it's you have to beat him to the success number, I think. So
If a character has more dots in a ritual than the dot rating for the ritual being cast, may not use defense. Inventing new rituals. Defending against rituals targeted against dangerous supernatural beings, the victim of mine, and shake them off. conscience victims may spend willpower to increase their friending victim.
I think it might be just once the ritual's finished, you roll that once.
Yeah,
If it fails, then you don't need it. Because basically you can test it. The beast like feels this weight put upon it, as though like a bunch of buzzing insects are now inside of there with the beast, and it just lets out this roar, and you can just feel it repel whatever force was trying to settle upon your soul.
Okay, but as he does that, I think John would try to pretend that the ritual has worked.
All right, I don't think it actually says if the caster is aware if the ritual has succeeded or not. I think that's the downside to sorceries.
Yeah. But I don't know if you want me to make a roll, so it's like he realizes his beast is just composure and subterfuge, or
yeah, I think composure and subterfuge would be good.
So it's 4 plus. It's gonna be 3.
To speed up the process, we will say minus the bishop's. We'll say
occult or
empathy. Yeah, so minus
empathy.
3 to that roll.
Minus 3. So it's 4 dice. Oh, we just got the 1.
Oh yeah, so like
Yeah,
even
just
if you acted like as though you were blatantly lying, then the bishop is more likely to think that he got his information wrong, and then you're actually resisted the ritual.
Yeah. So to describe, John senses this ritual working on him, but then he feels the beast inside just drive it away, drive this blood magic out of his system. But he kind of looks intently at the ritual and realizes an opportunity may present itself, and starts sort of clutching his chest as if there's a pain or something there, and giving a kind of a glazed look and a sort of a dizzy look to make it appear that the ritual has taken effect.
In that case, the bishop will say, "That is the weight of truth upon your soul. Speak no lies, and you shall suffer no consequence. If you promise me 3 things, John Ernest, you have my support."
He kind of gives a kind of a look as if there is a weight on his chest. And, this is an intriguing feeling. Oh boy, but very well. Name your 3 promises, and may no lie come across my lips.
Promise that you will not reveal under any circumstance that myself and my colleagues visited you today, or what was discussed here.
Sorry, what promise him?
Basically, promise to not reveal to Maze under any circumstance that the Sanctified came here, and they basically made this allowance.
Cool. I didn't hear the reveal bit, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, so he'll just nod, and I promise I shall not reveal or divulge the meeting that has transpired or the contents of what was discussed to any, dead or alive.
The second is that you will work with me to expunge all traces of the Circle of the Crone from your political party and those of the others of London's Carthians.
He's going to promise, but it will be a lie. So I don't know. So he could probably.
So you don't need to roll for it because you did such a good job of faking being under the effect. So he's none the wiser.
Yeah. So he'll just go. I promise to expunge these heretics and those involved in their den of vipers.
And third, Under no circumstance are you to send any Carthian into Nosferatu territory unless they had first gained expressed permission from either our clan herald or prefect.
No. I swear none of the Carthians under my knowledge or command will enter your territory unless you give your herald or your prefect gives permission. Sorry, that's another lie, right?
Okay. Bishop will look you over and smile and say, "Then let this be the beginning of a new age for London, one where we will be freed from the trepidations of a Ventru who has fallen off the path, and free of the poisonous whispers of serpents." With that, he'll hold out his hand to shake yours.
Yeah, John again has a smile on his face, and he actually generally comes across quite happy, and just says, "Yes, let us bring down the tyrant and save the city from the monsters that would destroy it."
Right. With that, he will get up again, and he will say, "Of course, I cannot reveal this to my own fellows. Some of them are, well, let's just say that they do not look as favorably as I do upon your more liberal mindset. Rest assured, the Sanctified will not actively incur upon Carthian territory without at least knowing ahead of time that you will be none the weaker for it."
Yeah, he gives a nod, and yes, I thank you for your sign of respect, and remember, the greater my power in the movement, the greater your influence on the movement will be.
He will smile, and then with that he will bid you good evening with a bow. He will return the mask and just give his underlings a look. They will all bow grudgingly to the members of the movement who are there. And then they will begin to move away. And as they move away, most of the people here will find it harder and harder to look at them, or more as the surroundings become far more like noticeable by comparison until they seem to almost vanish. Except for the particular asshole of the Cardinals, who just glares as they all go out of the room.
Yeah, as they leave and sort of disappear back into the shadows, the John will get up and head towards his troop, his political movers and shakers. And as he comes closer to him, the rather loud, rude Scotsman speaks and goes, "I'm glad they're fucked off. Bloody sanctified bastards. So, boss, what did you manage to get out of that wanker?" John will turn to look at him and go, "I believe I may be able to kill two birds with just one stone. Come, we have to go. Where was that meeting?" And with that, we shall end scene at the Gordon's Wine Bar.